Hi everyone, my name is Gautam and welcome to the channel Mathly. Here on this channel, we are going to discuss each and every concept from the very basic to very advanced level, whatever is going to come in your SAT examination in a very logical, smarter, and technical way. Means we are going to solve questions in the most fastest way possible. Competition is all about to solve in the most fastest way and in the correct order. So let us start our journey for our SAT mathematics. And the very first chapter that we are going to study is number system. Many of you might be thinking this is not in the syllabus of SAT examination. Now, the very next slide will tell you how important this chapter is for your SAT examination. And this slide will tell you how important this chapter is. So let us look at this question that might be asked in your SAT examination. And this question is from the chapter quadratic equation. Now, many of you might be knowing how to solve this quadratic equation, and many of you might not be knowing how to solve a quadratic equation. Don't worry about that. I will tell you how to solve each and everything in the frequent lecture. But this is the very first and basic lecture for your set foundation mathematics. So let us see, if you don't have knowledge about number system, you will not be able to solve this question. So the question is saying that this is a quadratic equation that has been given to you and it have roots which are integers. You must be knowing now what is integers. If you don't know what is integers, you will not be having any problem till now. But the question is saying the prime root of the equation will be. Now, if you don't know what is prime number, then you will not be able to move forward in this question. How? Let us see. So this was our equation, and this is not at all a thing of trouble that you don't know how to solve the quadratic equation. I will tell you how to solve in the next video when we will study quadratic equation. But for the time being, you should know that this is the procedure to solve this question in a long way, although there are many shortcuts, and the answer that you are getting is x is equal to 5 and x is equal to 16 both. But after solving the question and getting the answer, you will get confused what answer you should mark in your as a final answer. Now, whether you should mark 5 or 16. Of course, if you don't have idea about prime number, you are going to mark it as 16 or 5 any. But if you know what is prime number, then only you will be able to answer this question correct. So this was a trailer which will show you how important this chapter is for your SAT examination. Now, so since you know how important this chapter is, let us start our chapter and our journey. Now, so what is number? In mathematics, if I ask you, in general, if I ask you represent India, then you will represent might be by Indian flag. If I ask you represent USA, then you will represent USA by a USA flag. In the same way, in mathematics, if you want to represent anything, then we represent it by a number. For example, I have to say there are 5 apples, then I will represent it by 5 and then I will write apples. So in everything in mathematics, everything will be represented by a number. Is that thing clear? Now, this is the classification of number, and you don't have to worry about this diagram and this flowchart. I guarantee you, after 2 minutes, you will be able to understand this whole flowchart, and you can teach this flowchart to other people too. But give me 2 minutes for that. Let us study. What is natural number? Natural number is every counting number from where human being started to count, and human being started to count from 1. So every number that we count from 1 will be termed as a natural number. So it will start from 1 and it will go till infinity. So if I ask you what is the smallest natural number, then you should be very careful and you should be very clear with the idea that it's a 1. But at the same time, I can ask you what is the largest natural number, and many of you will get stuck here. So the largest natural number is not defined, and if you have to say what is the largest natural number, then it will be positive infinity. Is that thing clear? Very good. Now let us talk about whole number. Whole number is nothing. If you add 0 to a natural number, then it will become a whole number. Why its name is whole number? Its name is whole number because any number of this world can be framed by using a number from 0 to infinity. You can frame any number if we include 0. Is that thing clear? Now let us talk about integer that we show on the second slide. What is integer? Integer is again nothing, natural number plus 0 plus negative of natural number will be termed as integer, means natural number plus 0, and if we also consider its negative portion, then this will be termed as integer. Now if I ask you what is the smallest integer, you might be saying, sir, -1, -2. No, the smallest integer is again not defined, or even though if you have to say what is the smallest integer, then it will be minus negative, and the largest integer will be positive of infinity. Is that thing clear? Let us talk about rational number. This is a new definition for many of you, and for some of you, you might be knowing that, but there are a few things that you should know about rational number. A rational number can be any number which can be represented in the form of a by b, but the condition is that both a and b should be integer. And now you know what is integer, right? Both a and b should be integer, but here there is a catch. Sir, b 0 is also an integer. So can b can be 0? No, b cannot be 0. For a rational number, we define any number which can be represented in the form of a by b, where a and b both should be integer and b should not be equal to 0. This is a very important condition, and from here, let us see how we are going to understand rational number. 3. Is 3 a rational number? Of course, 3 is a rational number because it can be written in the form of a by b, where a will be equal to 3 and b will be equal to 1 and b is not equal to 0. Hence, it is satisfying the condition and it's a rational number. Is -4 a rational number? Of course, -4 is a rational number because we can write -4 as -4 upon 1, where both 4 and 1 are integer and 1 is not equal to 0. This is very important example. Is 0 a rational number? Of course, 0 can be written as 0 by 1, where a will become 0, b will become 1, which is not equal to 0. And that's why 0 is a rational number. If I ask you if 1 by 0 is a rational number, no. 1 by 0 is not a rational number because 1 is integer, 0 is integer, but the condition is for a rational number that b should not be equal to 0, where b is 0, and that's why, according to the fundamental law of mathematics, if you divide anything by 0, it will not be defined. That's why b by 0 is not a rational number. Now, is 0.75 is a rational number? Of course, this is a rational number because this can be written as 75 by 100. Now, this is a part of decimal which we are going to use study in the frequent chapters. Is -2.5 is a rational number? Of course, -2.5 can be written as -25 by 10, where a will become 25 and b will become 10. So both a and b are integer, and where b is not equal to 0, so it's a rational number. Now, is there any condition that how to find a number is rational or not? The first is the definition. Again, even if you have to know more about that, that whether if something is given in decimal, then it's a rational number or not, then you should say if it is terminating and repeating, then it will be a rational number. If it is non-terminating and non-repeating, then it will be an irrational number, which we are going to study right now. So what is irrational number? Irrational number, any number which cannot be written in the form of a by b will be irrational number. Now, sir, how are we going to define that which number cannot be written? Sir, we can write root 2 as root 2 by 1, but who said root 2 is a integer? Did I say? No, root 2 is not an integer. So there are few examples which you should mug up and which you should understand why. There is two terms. One is never terminates, means I am writing 1.23456 like that, will it ever terminate? No. If something is never terminating, then we cannot write it in the form of fraction. So it will be a irrational number. If something does not repeat, means 1.232342345, it is not repeating. So it can also not be written in the form of fraction, and if something is not written in the form of fraction, then it will again not be a rational number. Hence, it will be a irrational number. For example, root 2. Most of you might be remembering that root 2 is nothing but 1.41 and it's a terminating thing. No. Root 2 is 1.41421356 and it will go on. So it will never terminate. And that's why root 2 is an irrational number. Similarly, root 3, root 5, pi. Most of you might be thinking, sir, the value of pi is 3.14. No, it will go so long and it will never terminate and never repeat, and that's why it is also an irrational number. Same with e. Now it's time to recall what is rational, what is irrational. Any number which can be written in the form of a by b, where a and b is integer and b should not be equal to 0, then it will be an rational number. Any number which is not rational is irrational number, because rational and irrational together, rational plus irrational together make a real number. Okay, so what is the definition of real number? All numbers that might be rational, that might be irrational, if they are taken together, then it will form a number that will be termed as a real number. And this is a number line where you can say every number, what damn number you choose, it will be a real number. Now, as I granted you, after a few minutes, you will be able to explain that table yourself. Let us see now. Sure, we are not going to start from the top, we are going to start from the bottom. Why? Natural number. We know that, sir, every counting number is a natural number. If we add 0 to a natural number, it will become whole number. If we also consider the negative portion, then it will become integer. Integer. After that, sir, between that integer, if this can be represented by a by b, then it will be a rational number. If this cannot be represented in the form of a by b, then it will be irrational number. Rational number plus irrational number together will be a real number. Now, sir, if something is real, then another thing will be imaginary, which does not exist. This real number and imaginary number will form a number system that we just studied. I hope this classification is clear to you now, and let us move to the new things. Yeah, this is the thing that we studied on the second slide, right? Prime number, very important. So what is prime number? A prime number is a number which is having exactly, not less, not more, exactly two factor. Now, any number will have two factor. One is the factor of each and every number, and the second number is number itself. So every number which is having two factors, many of you might not be knowing what is factor. So let me tell you, factor. Factor is defined as a quantity which will divide another quantity completely. For example, if I am saying 4 is a factor of 20, it means 20 will be divided by 4 completely. There won't be any decimal. So if a number is dividing another number completely, then this number will be called as a factor of second number. So prime number are those numbers which is having two, exactly two factors. One factor will be number itself and the second factor will be 1. Example is 2. And now, what is the smallest prime number? 2 is the only even prime number as well as smallest prime number. And smallest prime number. Now, many of you might be thinking, isn't it 1? 1 is not the smallest prime number. No, 1 is not a prime number, because the definition of prime number says that it should have two factors. But if we consider 1, it will be having one factor only, that is 1, and that's why it's not a prime number. So what is the smallest prime number? 1 is the smallest prime, sorry, 2 is the smallest prime number. Is that thing clear? Let us move ahead. Composite number. This is exactly opposite to prime number. If a number is having more than two roots or factors, more than two factors, then it will be called as a composite number. Fine. For example, 4. If we talk about 4, then what are the factors of 4? 1 and 4. 4 will always have a factor 1 and number itself, and another factor is 2. 2 will also divide 4 completely, right? So there are three factors of 4. So it's a composite number, right? Every now, what is the smallest composite number? So smallest composite number is 4. Smallest composite number is 4. Now, is 1 a prime number? No, 1 is not a prime number, and I already told you the reason why it is not a prime number. Another sets of number is even number and odd number. What is even number? Any number which is divisible by 2 is termed as even number, and every number which is not divisible by 2 is termed as odd number. Now, how to check a particular number is divisible by 2 or not? So I will also going to teach all this in our basic lectures, but for the time being, just understand any number that will end with 2, 4, 6, 8 and 0 will be divisible by 2, and if a number is not ending with any of these numbers, then that will be an odd number. I hope this is clear to you now. Let us study about positive and a negative number. Now, on the number line, we studied few things. The basic one was 0. After that, it was like that 1, 2, 3. And on the left side, it was like that -1, -2, and -3. So, every number which is on the right of 0 is a positive number, means which is greater than. Being right means being greater. Every number which is on the left or which is smaller than 0 is a negative number. Is that thing clear? Now, question arises, is 0 a positive number or a negative number? And for your kind information, it has been written in the bold that 0 is neither a positive number nor a negative number. That's why another numbers other than 0, they are termed as a non-zero number. Now, non-zero number. Now, this term is also very important when you will be solving your SAT mathematics numericals or problems, because they will specifically tell you that what will be the non-zero solution of this question. And in that type of questions, you must be getting one answer as 0. And many students make this mistake that they mark their answer as 0. So if they are saying non-zero numbers, it means that any number other than 0. Let us move forward. What is the absolute value? Absolute value is nothing. If this is a number line, then what will be the distance 1, 2, 3? This will be -1, -2, and -3. So absolute value tells us what will be the distance from 0. If I am asking what will be the absolute value of 1, of course 1. What will be the absolute value of -1? Are you going to say it's -1? No, distance can never be negative. So it will be, this is the symbol of absolute value, and it will be again 1. So absolute value of a number is the distance from 0. Notation is this bar under x, and this will be always positive, whatever the quantity inside. If it is positive, it will be positive. It will be negative. If it is negative, it will be positive. Is that thing clear? Absolute value of 0 is 0 because the distance of 0 from 0 itself is 0. Are this thing, is this thing clear or not? Now, let us move to another topic, that is how to compare two numbers. Then it is very easy to understand from the number line that every number that is on the right side will be larger or greater than the number that is on the left. On the number line, for example, if I ask you, is 4 greater than 3? You will say, of course, yes. If I ask you, if -4 greater than -3? Many of you will answer yes, but the answer is no. because if I draw a number line, then you can easily see this is 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3, and this is -4. So you can see -3 is on right, and so it will be greater than -4. I hope you are clear with this. Similarly, -2 is greater than -5, -2 is greater than minus 0 is greater than -2, 3 is greater than 0 because everything on the right will be greater. Now let us talk about number line, and we already have been talking about this number line from the beginning itself. This is the most important component of today's lecture, and I hope number line is nothing but the representation of every number on a straight line or a horizontal line. That's called a number line. Now, these are common mistakes that all the SAT aspirants make. Is 0 a positive number? Many of you say yes, many of you say no, but the answer is that 0 is neither a positive nor a negative number. Is 1 a prime number? Most of you will say yes, but no, 1 is not a prime number. Okay, and neither it's a composite number. Is root 25 is a rational number? Now, many students think that anything inside the root is positive number. No, root 25 can be simplified as root 25 can be simplified as 5 multiplied by 5. Now, if you don't know about exponents and radicals, I'm going to take another separate lecture on that. But for the time being, just understand if there are two factors, same factors inside the root, then one will come out. So now this is not root 5, this is actually 5, and 5 is a rational number. Similarly, what negative numbers cannot be rational. Many people thinks that negative number can never be rational. No, negative number can always be written as like this, where A will be 7, B will be 1, and it satisfies the condition that B is not equal to 0, hence it's a rational number. Before ending today's lecture, I want to ask one question, that whoever so is watching this lecture, I want to know that what is your current SAT score or the previous SAT score, and what score you want. Write down in the comment section, and I will come with no basic lecture before moving to the actual SAT syllabus, because these are very important before moving to the actual SAT syllabus. So see you in the next lecture. Till then.